I'm scared. The house is on fire. Hey guys, Mono here with some exclusive preview footage of Update 13, which will be out on console and PC on the 6th of November. What you're seeing now was captured on the PTE servers, so if you don't know what that means, that's the player test environment, which is used to get feedback on the upcoming content from the players and just generally test if everything is working, if the game is crashing, and so on. With previous PTEs, we weren't allowed to show footage until after the update was out, but this time, some content creators were given permission to use this footage right away, so thank you very much, Black Matter and Team 17, for this opportunity. So let's talk about Update 13 because there is a lot of content coming out, so I'll give you guys a general overview and then I'll go over each of the big things in detail. I think most notably, we have the Flamethrowers, which will be available for the US and the Germans as part of the support kit level 8, which is a fairly high level, so expect to see a lot of players grinding the support class over the next few weeks, which is hopefully going to mean a bit more team play, a bit more garrisons built as a side effect. The Soviet army doesn't get the Flamethrower, but they do get access to the bazooka and to the Molotov cocktails. It's the same exact bazooka you get in the US team, so there's nothing really new here, and I'll talk about the Molotov cocktails in a bit. We also get a new map, Karkov, which is what you're seeing right now, and I have a lot of good things to say about it, but let's keep going down the list. Soviets get a new tank, the T-70 light tank, which isn't very good. There is finally a jeep to zip around the map, and finally there are some miscellaneous updates and improvements across the board, bringing in better performance as well as a bunch of fixes. I will leave the link to the full changelog down in the video description, so check that out if you want. That's pretty detailed and there's a lot more that I won't be covering here, but these are the main things. Now, let's talk about the new map because I think it's fantastic. I know how hard the team worked on this map and it really shows. Karkov features a mix of urban areas and wide open areas, but unlike other maps like Foy or Kursk or Purple Heart Lane, there's a lot going on to tailor the gameplay towards the strengths of the game. I know houses were positioned in specific locations to provide calculated lines of sight, and yeah, they've gone to that level of detail. So you'll notice there's these long stretches of road with lots of houses on each side, which provide much needed cover to be able to push into an objective, while also giving the defensive teams a lot of house interiors so they'll be able to hold angles on windows to escape artillery blasts and so on. If your team isn't holding both sides of the street, then it's very easy for the enemy team to creep up along one of those sides, completely unseen, which can provide a crucial tactical advantage. There are a lot of new assets, but the one that really stands out and takes the prize here is the destroyed church, which is absolutely incredible. It looks stunning and the interior has a ton of places that you can shoot from. It provides some great lines of sight, so expect a lot of people to use it, but it also remains vulnerable to tank shells or bombing runs because it's pretty open, so definitely a terrific new addition to the game. I'm really excited about the gameplay that's going to develop around these areas. It looks like an absolutely incredible map. In terms of the terrain itself and those wide open areas, the map has a general slope towards the west side, so the east side is higher up across most of the map, it seems. But there are a lot of exceptions to this. I'm not sure what the best way to describe this is, but there are a lot of dips and small hills all over the place, so a lot of irregular terrain, which will block lines of sight, allowing you to move around those open areas without always getting shot from all sides. I cannot stress how much this changes a map for the better. It makes engagements much more interesting, it provides the team with options on how to approach the different objectives around the map, and it also means a great area for tanks to play around in. So overall, I think this map is going to be regarded as one of the best maps in the entire game. After Remagen, where from the moment it was announced, it was clear that there were going to be some major issues with how it would play out, Karkov is totally different, and I think most players will love this map. The few hours I have in the game, like I've spent like 6 hours playing Karkov by now, and I've enjoyed every single round. I think it plays exceedingly well. Alright, let's talk flamethrowers, and I'm gonna say this right now. It's a lot of fun to use, but it's a very niche weapon. It has roughly a 20-meter range, maybe 23 meters. So after that, it will deal no damage at all. And given most engagements in the game take place at, you know, distances longer than those 23 meters, it's not going to be useful in most situations. Also, unlike the shotgun, which is also a close quarters weapon, you have a long wind-up before you can fire, so you need to brace the flamethrower by holding right-click, similar to the way you do it with the machine gun when you're firing from the hip. And once you do, the turn speed is substantially reduced, so you can't spray it around real fast or anything. Where it does excel, though, is at clearing out buildings or just slowing down the enemy. You can spray a building around from the outside and really force the enemies inside to retreat, since once you set a wall on fire from the outside, it also lights up on the inside. And then you can't really get close to it without taking damage. So dumping fire all around the windows and, you know, the walls makes it pretty impossible for anyone inside to actually be able to defend. And you can also spray around walls and stuff like that to prevent the enemy from climbing in. I think as a defensive tool or as a clearing out or area denial tool, it can be extremely effective. I managed to light up the top sides of a trench from the outside and completely shut down 3 enemy soldiers that were inside, lighting them up on fire and not really giving them a way to fight back or move without dying. So I think in Kursk Night specifically, the flamethrower is going to be excellent, and I really can't wait to see how it looks in a night map. So fun weapon, but it's only useful within those 20-something meters. You can also use it to destroy vehicles, but you consume almost the entire fuel tank to do so, so it's not practical at all. You're much better off using either a bazooka, satchel, or the machine gun. To replenish the fuel tank, you need a box of explosive ammo, and yes, before you do ask in the comments, you do have supplies in this kit, so you are still good for building garrisons and building other structures with it, so no problem there. The Molotov cocktail is pretty underwhelming, I think. It's okay, but grenades are just straight up better because they deal damage over a bigger area. So the only real use case for this is for shutting down a specific corridor or clearing out a building, but even then the area of effect is pretty small, so it's okay, but it's not gonna be great. The kit that does have it, however, is a great kit. You have a satchel charge as well, and you have a PPSH, so it's a really good kit. But yeah, it's a bottle you throw, so obviously it was never gonna be this devastating, you know, kill everyone attack. As a side note, when you set something on fire, the fire doesn't really last a whole lot. So I can see that getting tweaked maybe in the future to find a sweet spot that makes the fire useful, like lighting up something on fire actually useful, but also doesn't prevent movement for too long either, because that would just slow the game down too much, or even prevent yourself from moving if you happen to light something up. So yeah, I think that's going to get tweaked eventually, and we'll see it, you know, arrive at a good point. The T-70 light tank sucks. There's really no way I'm gonna disguise this. It's basically a faster T-34, but with a worse gun. It drives like a faster medium tank, not like a light tank. So it's nothing like the Lukes or the Stuart, where you can really zip around the map. This is much slower, and what you get in return really isn't a whole lot. You basically get a light gun on a faster medium tank with less armor. I didn't really like using it, and I don't think people will be using it much, unfortunately. I think maybe the frontal armor cannot be penned from the front by the Panzerschrecks, which would make that better than the Stuart, because the Stuart can be penned from the front, but I'm not sure about that, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to test once Update 13 is actually out, or maybe later in another PTE or something. So yeah, if it bounces those frontal shots, then I guess it's going to be an okay tank to use against infantry, but at that point, you might as well use the T-34. So yeah, I don't see people using this very much. Jeeps, on the other hand, are a ton of fun. They max out at 40 kilometers per hour or 41, so significantly faster than any other vehicle in the game, and they can carry up to 4 players, so almost a full squad. You can also hop up top. I did get run over by doing this, but I'm sure that's kind of a bug or something, because it did work for a while. So yeah, I can see this being used a lot to go quickly set up some garrisons or to open up a flank as a squad. It's surprisingly loud though, and the sound is very strange actually. It kind of sounds like a half-track, so even though it has a smaller profile, allowing you to go unseen behind low objects and stuff like that, like it's less noticeable than a huge truck, you are still going to be heard, so, you know, keep that in mind. I hope they do change the sound at some point because it doesn't sound like a small vehicle at all. Like the engine should sound like a small engine, and it really doesn't. And that's pretty much it, guys. I think this is a great update. Yes, the T-70 isn't very good, but giving the Soviet AT a bazooka does a whole lot for that team because they really needed a way to take out the tanks that isn't the Satchel. The PTRS is basically unusable. The Flamethrower is cool and fun, but it's not gonna break the game or change it very much or anything. And the new map is really, really good. I can't stress that enough. I'm really happy with the new map. I think maps make or break games, and I am really excited about getting to play more of this map. So let me know down in the comments what you're most excited for, though I bet most people are gonna say the Flamethrower. As a reminder, this will be out December 6th on all platforms, so I hope you all get to enjoy it then. Remember to check out the links down in the video description. Make sure you leave a like or a sub. It makes a huge difference, and I'll see you guys in the next one.